Sports Video Group's Jason Dachman. We're at the IBC 2023 show in Amsterdam, and I'm here at the Grass Valley Forum with a good friend of ours, Tim Banks, Chief Revenue Officer at Grass. Tim, thanks so much for taking the time today. Appreciate it.
No, of course. No problem, Jason. Delighted to see you again.
You as well. And, you know, it's always exciting to stop by the Grass booth and see what you guys have in store. But especially this year, considering the transformation that you guys have undertaken over the last few years, the launch of the Grass Valley Media Universe and AMP being at the center of that. So give us an idea, what can we expect here in Amsterdam at the RAI at Grass Valley's booth this year, especially when it comes to sports production?
Wow, it's where do I start? There's so much going on. I think that the really cool news from a business and corporate perspective is we're here to announce that we've completed the business transformation. We're now transitioning quickly into a next phase of growth and investment. Just before the show, we announced a number of key senior appointments. So a new president and COO in John Wilson, new CTO in Ian, new CPO in Adam, and also a chief strategy officer. And the business is surging, the business is booming, and that's really felt across the portfolio and across the business, but particularly supporting our live sports clients. Some other good news, the supply chain is finally easing. Thankfully.
Good to hear. God's prayers.
It's taken a while, but we've got there, and so really delighted. And then in terms of things that we're excited about, new announcements, really it's across the portfolio. So latest developments in terms of the flagship camera technology, the LDX 135, the LDX 150. Latest developments in terms of K-frame switcher and the new Cayenne panel. And our key clients in the sports space keep telling us, you guys are the benchmark. You have the leading, most advanced live production solutions on the market, bar none. Then in terms of networking infrastructure, it's really an area that we've doubled down on. There's been a lot of confusion about Grass Valley solely focusing on software. No, that's the strength of the brand, is the breadth of the portfolio, and that incorporates hardware, software, and as we've heard at this evening's presentations, it doesn't matter where you want to deploy that. And then, of course, there's all things AMP. So cool new developments with Live Producer and Live Touch X being used by the likes of Canal Plus and also CBS Sports. Then latest developments in terms of Framelight X, the asset management, again being used by Eurosport, by CBS Sports for the Galazzo channel. Where else do we go? And then in terms of those clients, and if you think of sports, maybe kind of more on-prem kind of solutions, then the launch of AMP Local and AMP Grid that kind of takes all of the flexibility and scalability enabled by a cloud-enabled architecture, but to an on-prem environment.
Right. So you get all the benefits of AMP, but in a disconnected environment, which is pretty exciting. So.
Listening to our lead clients in sports telling us, hey, we need that kind of flexible solution in a truck environment. Sure. Where you can't be guaranteed connectivity to the internet 24/7. So we've listened. Yep. It's taken us a few months to develop, but we're here to be the best partner we can be for the live and sports space. Well,
we'll see if we see AMP more in OB environments coming up. I'm sure we will. A lot of what you just spoke about was, spearheaded by trends that we're seeing in the industry. The move to the cloud, the need for agility, the need to scale up and scale down, so on and so forth. How are you seeing the industry evolve? What are the key trends that you guys are seeing, and how is that impacting your guys' roadmap moving forward?
And so those trends, those challenges, Jason, that you highlight have really been the backdrop to the technology strategy and the vision for the last 5 years or more. And we've tried to get ahead to anticipate that. And so we're ready today with the solutions that solve those problems. At the heart of it, as well as the growth, so we'll have our biggest revenue year for the cameras, switches, and infrastructure portfolio this year post-COVID, which we're delighted about. But also we're really seeing AMP adoption surge because it is the answer to those challenges. It gives you the scalability, the flexibility, ever shortening sports rights cycles, ever later decision making. You need to be able to spin up and spin down sources and services at a crazy fast rate. So we've really seen the usage of AMP soar. So at NAB, we were kind of puffing out our chests saying that in March we'd got up to a million hours of usage. By IBC, it's now 3 million hours of usage per month. And as we presented at this evening's event, it's not just tier 2 and tier 3 sports, it's really tier 1, some of the highest value assets, some of the biggest brands are putting their faith in AMP and putting their trust in Grass Valley. And that includes, you know, the launch of the NFL season with Sunday Night Ticket working closely with NEP. That's coverage of the US Open, Formula One, Formula E, UEFA Champions League soccer, English Premier League soccer with our friends at CBS Sports and the Galazzo channel. And then, you know, where the money's going. So Saudi, everyone's talking about Saudi. One of the latest significant deals that we've been able to secure is with the Saudi Pro League. And that's where we're seeing a lot of interest from the sports federations themselves. How do they look to maximize the monetization of those assets, but how do they do it in an efficient and operationally cost-effective way?
Sure, yeah, I mean, we're seeing it, again, like you said, the biggest of the big and some of the lower tiers. You're seeing it across the board, and we'll continue to see it. I don't think there's any question about that. But as you look at the next, say, 12 to 24 months, what are some big challenges that you guys are foreseeing? And how is Grass Valley going to try to aid your customers and potential future customers to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think, Jason, the dynamics are changing at such a rate, and in many different dimensions. It really comes down to flexibility, and so as Ian highlighted in the technology strategy piece, when our key clients in the sports and media space come to an event like IBC, they'll be presented with all sorts of choices. Sure. So you have to make a choice. You have to decide, are you going to go all on-prem or are you going to go all on cloud? Do you have to rely on proprietary hardware, or can you go with a software-defined environment? And our vision is you don't need to choose. Those are false dilemmas. And so where Grass Valley sees that we can be the best possible partner to those lead clients, is really presenting them with a whole range of options. If it makes sense initially to go with a cloud deployment, because of speed, because of agility, and if it's a temporary use case around a particular event, we talked already about US Open tennis, then totally, public cloud deployment makes total sense. But as soon as your cloud productions ramp to a certain scale that becomes the new normal, then the financial guys will step in and say, how do we do this more cost effectively? That's where you can pivot to an on-prem deployment. But the applications, the user interface, the remote collaboration is exactly the same. And that's the cool thing, is that from an operator perspective, and ultimately we're the servants of the operators, they wouldn't know the difference.
Sure.
The performance, the responsiveness, the low latency is exactly the same, whether you're in a public cloud or on-prem, or a combination of the two.
And that's what's key, right? The creators get to continue to create, and they don't have to change the way that they work. It's just the back end and flow.
That's the beauty of the GV Media universe, is it's the same tactile control services that the operators have built their careers and their reputations on. We're not asking them to change any of that. It's just where that control surface is connected to, and here at IBC, K-Frame is a great example where they have a Cayenne panel. One strip will be connected to a K-Frame mainframe under the desk. The other stripe will be K-Frame on AMP running in AWS.
Absolutely.
And for the operator, it's seamless.
Yep. They don't know the difference, absolutely. Well, Tim, it sounds like it's going to be a very exciting show for Grass Valley, a bit of a coming out party after the last 3 years of transformation. So make sure to stop by the booth. Tim, thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it.
Nice one. And if I can say a few words, we really appreciate the partnership with SVG. Really, it is live sports that's driving the accelerated adoption of AMP. And so we're looking, like SVG, to be the best partner we can be for those leading media players in the sports space to define collaboratively and deliver the future of media.
Well, it's very exciting to be in sports right now. You guys are right at the front of that, and we're excited to see what you guys have at the show. For more interviews like this, stay tuned to svgeurope.org throughout the IBC show, and make sure to check our social media channels as well. I'm Jason Dachman in Amsterdam at the IBC show.